Welcome to our ongoing YouTube video series on business law focusing on incorporations. In this particular video, we're going to be looking at 10 lessons before you incorporate your company. The first lesson we have is that you're creating a distinct legal entity when incorporating, but it has limitations. The fact that it has limitations means that major institutions and people that are represented by legal counsel have and will utilize workarounds. This is why you see personal guarantees and personal indemnifications. And you have to be aware of this fact that the limitations associated with the distinct legal entity only go so far. Second lesson, you can still be found liable as an officer and director of the company, such that you cannot necessarily separate yourself from the corporate structure. This applies in particular with respect to taxes. The government has structured stuff so that they can find a way to collect their taxes, and if it's not from the corporate entity, it'll be from yourself as a director or officer of the company. Third lesson is that all your written documents going forward need to clearly state that the agreement is with the company. You don't want to be signing off stuff in your personal capacity, even though we've mentioned the limitations of distinct legal entity. You want to be clear that it is the company and not yourself personally that is signing off on the documentation. The fourth aspect is that central aspects which are set forth out in the Articles of Incorporation cannot be retroactively changed. Therefore, you really need to make the effort to have the documentation properly done the first time when it's submitted with the government. You can change it at a later date, however this is going to cost you money, and because these things are time and date stamped, you cannot have anything that you intended to do apply to stuff that was not stamped by the government. Fifth, it is to your advantage to have a comprehensive set of Articles of Incorporation instead of merely obtaining a bare bones Articles of Incorporation with very limited information, in particular as to the number and distinctions of your share classes. Once again, you can change this at a later date, but it's going to cost you money and it can't be applied retroactively. Sixth, you will benefit from researching about incorporation in advance and focusing on your own particular jurisdiction, whether it's a state, provincial, federal, or whatever jurisdiction you're looking to be in, because jurisdictions have their own specific rules, advantages, and disadvantages that you need to consider in advance. It might be a reason why you select a different jurisdiction, but you need to research it before and be very specific. Number 7, where it's appropriate, a unanimous shareholders agreement is really worthwhile considering to both protect your investment and your work contribution. You don't want to be getting into something, especially with multiple shareholders, and find yourself carrying the load, having to carry somebody, getting into disputes in the future, and not having a means to resolve it. Outside of going to court, that is. 8th, you really need to consider the aspect of unconditionally distributing shares, as not having a plan to distribute your shares and not having controls is simply a recipe for disaster. You want to have a controlled structure, understand the implications of distributing shares, and putting that in place. The 9th lesson is that you want to review and reconsider everything in your Articles of Incorporation and other associated paperwork before filing it with the government. Because once it's done, it's going to be costly to correct, and oftentimes it's going to be difficult to get other people who are members of the company to agree to the changes. So you want to make the documentation correct the first time when you're filing. And our 10th lesson is not to discount the value of having a knowledgeable attorney involved with yourself in incorporating your company. You're doing this on an infrequent basis. This might be your first company incorporated, it might be your second or third company. However, lawyers who are involved in the corporate process have potentially incorporated hundreds, if not thousands of companies, advise hundreds and thousands of people about the ins and outs of incorporation, and understand the particulars of your particular jurisdiction, as well as being able to explain to you the value of a unanimous shareholders agreement. Hopefully these lessons have been informative and assist you in the incorporation process, and we wish you the best of luck with your launch of your new business. We thank you for viewing this video. We hope you click the like button and subscribe buttons. Given that, we are continuing to prepare and disseminate further YouTube videos that we hope will assist you in launching your business and succeeding in your business on the financial side. Thank you. Until next time.